Welcome. Today's lesson is on circles and the equations of circles. I'm in a program called GeoGebra. It's absolutely free. You could load it up, geogebra.org. Play around with this yourself. But the equation of circles is very simple. You have both an x squared term and a y squared term. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in an x squared term plus y squared equals, and then I'm going to type in a number like 9. Now, what I want to emphasize is that that draws a circle. And the reason it does is because if you think about when x is 0, then y can either be a -3 or a +3. But vice versa, when y is 0, x can either be a -3 or a +3. And you form this circle. And if you'll notice, the radius is 3, or the square root of 9. So if I was to increase this to 25, then if you'll notice, the radius is now 5, because the square root of 25 is 5. Now, this circle has always been centered at the origin, 0, 0. If you want to center it somewhere else, you shift the x to move it horizontally, or you shift the y. What I mean by that is I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to, before I square it, I'm going to add or subtract to the x. So let's do that. Now, if you'll notice, what's happened is, since I added 3, what value of x makes this x plus 3 squared 0? -3 does. So it shifted the center over here to -3 right here. The radius is still 5, but the center has just been shifted to the left because it takes a -3 to make this 0. Now, if I wanted to shift it up or down, I would do the same thing to the y. In other words, if I want to shift it up, then what I would do is I would actually minus, let's say, 5 from the y value. And then what that does is that will shift the center over or up now 5 units, because what value of y makes the parentheses 0? Well, +5. So now I have a circle with a radius of 5, because that's the square root of 25, that's centered at -3, +5. Go over -3, up 5, that's the center, and we go out a radius of 5. What I want to emphasize now is that the general form, or the standard form of equation for a circle, is x minus the horizontal shift squared plus parentheses y minus the vertical shift, which they use a k for that, squared, equals the radius squared. Now, you won't see the radius squared like 4 squared or 5 squared. They'll actually square it out. R squared is actually a number. K and H are actually numbers. X and Y are the variables. So let's change this one here, and let's do a circle centered at the point 2, 2, and has a radius of 2. Well, that would be very simple. If I wanted it centered at +2, I'm going to do a -2 on the x. I'm going to come over here and do a -2 on the y. And if I want us a radius of 4, a radius of 2, I'm going to do a 4. And now I hit enter. And if you'll notice, now the circle has been moved over to +2x, +2y. That's my center, and it has a radius of 2. Let's say I want to shift it another unit. Let's say I want to shift it 3 to the right, 4 up, and have a radius of 6. Well, if I wanted a radius of 6, I would do 36, because that's 6 squared. Now, if I go from the origin over 3 and up 4, there's my center right there. And then if you count out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 has a radius of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this first lesson, all you're going to be doing is finding the center or the radius of a circle. And you do that by either looking at the graph, and you can easily see it, or that value that's next to the x, it's going to be the opposite of what you see. So if it's minus 3, it's a positive 3x value for the center. If it's a negative 4, it's a positive 4. So it'd be the center 3, 4. And the radius is always the square root of this number on the right side. If you have any questions, please bring them to class, and I will help you then.